the title of my talk is HTMX plus Flask, Modern Python Web Apps Hold the JavaScript. And it should say on the client side. This is not something that says you can't write JavaScript. If you want to write JavaScript, you can. HTMX is a really cool technology that lets you use a lot of the server for the exact same behaviors you would get on client-side JavaScript. So there's a lot of people in Node using this. So it's not an anti-JavaScript. It's a, you can choose whatever language you're working with already. I imagine many of you would like Python around here. And you could choose that and you could keep working it, okay? So that's what HTMX is. My keyboard doesn't work, so maybe I'll just type up here. Or there we go. So HTMX, it's a library that allows you to do AJAX-like things, server exchange, but also CSS transitions, animations, WebSockets, and so on. It's a really cool library. It's incredibly easy to use, as you'll see. I don't work on HTMX. I'm not associated with it. I'm just a big fan about how it enables us as Python web developers to write way cleaner code. And what I'm going to show you later, you're going to be able to look at and say, that's the whole thing. That's the entire implementation of it. It's really, really neat. So one of the ideas around HTMX is the Howell Stack. This is something that Carson Gross came up with, the guy who created HTMX. And Howell, you've heard of the mean stack and the lamp stack and all these various stacks. Well, with HTMX, we have hypertext on whatever language you want. You want to write Python? Write Python. You want to write Go? You write Go. Whatever you want. So you can write it however you want. And I think this is the thing that really appeals to me. I had mentioned this talk that I was coming here on Twitter, and someone said, I'm really excited about HTMX and Flask. It sounds great. But outside of just kind of being cleaner, I mean, there's really not anything different. Because this is what I'm doing. You see, like I'm writing code over here on the server, and I'm getting HTML from the server, and I'm putting it on the page. And I looked at it and I said, this is not the same thing. This looks the same. Look at the bottom. This is the HTMX equivalent. The entire code at the bottom is the same as the top. HX trigger equals key up, HX get equals suggestions, HX target equals place for suggestions. That's it. That's the whole implementation. Same as above. Really, really neat. Ryan went on earlier about how it's cool to have declarative code instead of imperative code where you have to say all the steps. HTMX is very declarative. You just say these things like, I want, when this happens, when this event happens, I want this CSS transition and this bit of code or this bit of HTML from the server to show up. So just to get a real quick sense of what's going on here, I'm going to show you an example. And I'm not 100% sure on the network here, so I may want to switch over. So let's see. Let's go to my phone, because this would be better on not the slow network that we've been suffering through. All right. So let's go over to HTMX. And over here, they've got some examples. And there's all sorts of cool stuff you can do. You can do click to edit. You can do like bulk edit. You can do infinite scroll. You can do progress bars. But let's just look at this real quick, click to edit, because this is a very different way of thinking about web development. We've thought about writing code on the server and returning HTML. We've thought about Vue.js or React and a bunch of stuff that just shows up on the page and gets built up out of APIs. This isn't really either of those. So let's see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to write. Let me just show you what it does first. So down here, do a little zoom for you. So we've got this non-editable section of our page, and we want to edit it. So we want to be able to do something slick like inline, click to edit it, and change this to Sam or whatever, and then hit save. And then it goes back to non-editable. There's no JavaScript in this page. It's really neat. So what is happening? How did that work? On the examples, they have this little debug toolbar thing at the bottom. Notice this. It says initially that part of the page started out with this, where it had a target, what to do when the event happens to replace itself with whatever it gets from the server. And when you click the button, where does it get the HTML? It gets it from there. That's probably written in Python or whatever, right? For us, it would be written in Python. And so when that runs, when we click the button, what did the server send back? It sent back the HTML that is the form, and it put it right there. So when I click this, HTMX replaces that part of the DOM with that HTML that is the form. You can even see when you submit it back, the details that it posts back. Okay, so this is the exchange. It's kind of a mind bend you've got to do here to get used to it. So it's a little bit different, but it is quite neat. All right. Wait for the screens to catch up. All right. So I encourage you to check those out. We're going to write some code because writing code makes it real. And what we're going to do is we're going to take an existing web page that I built that has no interactivity on the client side, whatsoever. And we're going to add this idea of active search. That is, as you type, the search results come out on the page, rather than you type something, you hit enter, you see what happens, right? So we're going to type something up here and get some results there. And we'll even go so far as to add browser history and the ability to link back deeply into the state of the SPA, the application, if you will. All right, so hopefully that sets the stage. Let's go write some code here. Don't need this yet. So first, let me show you. I'm not sure it's running at the moment. It is not. So let me show you. Here's this app that I've created for you all. It's called the Video Collector. And it's like Yahoo from the olden days, where you just kind of bookmark and categorize things you like. So are you excited about Python? Well, you come down here, and here's some of the Python videos. And we can go watch them. Like, let's see. We'll watch this one that Hannah did at one of this was PyCon, right? So eventually it shows up on YouTube here and it plays, right? So that's really cool. And there's all these different categories, like there's stuff on EVs, there's stuff on JavaScript. But we go up here, we can also search for stuff. Like if I want to search for M1 Apple, there's all the stuff that has to do with M1. If I want to search for, I don't know, car, there's all the results that have to do with car. But if I don't know, accidentally refresh the page, I get this warning. Some weird thing is about to happen to your website because, I don't know, you were just searching for something. Now you can't go there anymore. And you can't bookmark it, right? You definitely can't send that URL to somebody and have that mean anything, right? And they've got to press the button. So what I would like is, as they type, I would like that to happen. So let's go write that. We've got 20 minutes to do it. Might sound like a lot of work, not so much. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of jump around a little bit. This existing page, this existing site is here. You know, like I said, we have 20 whole minutes to do the whole thing, so we don't have too much. But this page here that has the search results, it has the search collector, the input, and then it has some stuff below. Let me just give you the quick HTML here. So up here is the input. Down here is the search results section, all right? And then it says, look, if there's some search text, we're going to loop over the videos and we're going to show them. There's more HTML about how they get shown. It just shows like the YouTube thumbnail and the title and stuff like that. So what I want to do is I want to change this so that we can use HTMX. And so what you saw a little bit of it in those examples before. What we will need to do is we need to add a few HX attributes. I do wish there was some kind of autocomplete for this. Anyone who wants to write a plugin, I would love you. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say, what are we going to do to get the search results? We're going to do a get for videos/search, like that. And one spells videos correctly, you're going to have a way better chance of getting it to work. Thank you. And then where do you want to put the results when you get it? You're going to say hx target equals. You do a CSS selector. There's a thing at the bottom down here that has an ID of search results. So you just hash search results, not there. You just hash search results. It's going to go into that section. That's super easy. And the last thing is what is going to cause this? It could be a button click. It could be the page is loaded. So you got to have a trigger. And the trigger is going to be key up. Now this is going to look like it might do what you want. It's probably not going to do what we want. All right, let's rerun this. Flash should restart, but let's just be safe. So if I go over here again and we go to the search, and I say, let's search for M1, look at this. What is happening at the bottom there? Well, I told it to give me what is that video/search. That's the whole page. That's weird, right? We don't want that. That's odd. So what we can do, there's a couple ways we can solve this. Well, we can go over to the complicated implementation area on the server where we're doing our Python, and we can ask a cool question. We can say if this view model, which sort of holds the data of the exchange, if this is an HTMX request. If it is, we're going to do something different. And what we want to do is we just want to have a little bit of the HTML, just the fragment of HTML. So we're going to not create a notebook. We are going to create an HTML page that's like a partial. So I'm going to call this search results. Yeah? Sure, it can go in GitHub. That's fine. Thank you, GitHub. And what we want is just the code that we had here, which is, I'm going to collapse it so that I can actually copy it successfully. So I want that bit right there. Okay? I'm just put it over here. And did I miss a piece? Something has gone wrong. Oh, I called it Python, didn't I? You all didn't even stop me. HTML. There we go. So we're going to return this. That's the same code. I just literally ripped it out of there. I'm going to say if it's that, I'm going to do a little bit of work here. I'm going to say HTML equals flask.render template. And if you look over at this section, it needs some videos. It's all the data that it needs is videos. So I got to come over here and say the template name, which is videos slash partials. Got to love the autocomplete. Search results. And then we got to pass some data. So videos equals video, vm.videos. And then we got to return this as a response. So return flask.make response HTML. All right, let's try this again. This was not looking pretty. No, I'm still in that. We're out. We're free finally. So if I type in one, look at that. What else should we search for? HTML. Yeah, HTMX. There we go. We could search for IndyCar. We could search for Python. Search for bytes. All right, now, did you see how that flickered? That was not nice. That was not nice at all. And our server hated it. I mean, even though if we were running on Nginx, maybe we'd be good, but no, it wasn't good. So what we can do is we can go back over here to this one in our HTMX section, and we can go for that trigger. I want a few more things. I want to say delayed, I think it's delayed. I'm going to find out, 250 milliseconds. The other thing that you didn't notice is if I move the arrow keys that don't make any meaningful change to the page or to the input, it'll still do that. So I can say, I want to make sure the value of the text actually changes. So, rerun, refresh. Let's try this again. Bytes, look at that. Now if I type M1, it'll wait. Oh, no, it doesn't. I got to refresh it? Maybe not. You know, I'm guessing it's delay, not delayed. What do you all think? There we go. All right, so now we can come over. Yeah, look at that. Indy, and boom. Isn't that smooth? M1, and then the answers come in. So let's go back and review. Let's review where is the server side or the client side JavaScript. Well, that's what we wrote to make that happen. There's a lot of code running. There's a lot of searches and database stuff happening, but it's happening on the server over here. I mean, there's not a lot of code, right? But that's where it's happening. So that's pretty cool. Now, one more thing I would like to show you. Do we have time? Oh, yeah. We got so much time. OK, so let's go over here and add one more thing, because check this out. So suppose I want to search for Apple. No, was it M1? No, was it wwdc? Type it out the way you say it. No, let's go back. Maybe I want the one before. Wait, it's gone. Where'd it go? Right? Like there's no browser history, which is weird. So we can actually go a little farther and say hx-push-url equals true. We refresh, and I don't know why that is in there. All right, so you go over here and let's say search for M1. Can you all see that? Did that zoom? Yeah. Right on. Look at that. Search is M1. Now let's go to Apple. Let's go to Indy. And now let's go back. Look at that. I still haven't written more JavaScript. All right, 5 minutes, 10? OK. This is a super cool technology. It lets us write the code that we want on the server We don't have to deal with weird API authorizations because you're on the server. You just talk to the database, you interact with your APIs, whatever you need to do on the server, you just do it, and then you get the answer right here. It's really fantastic. So there is a problem though. Now that we have this, what is the temptation to paste it or share it or link to it? If you have a URL and you have a web app, you should probably be able to use the URL in the web app. That seems reasonable, right? In SPAs, in rich JavaScript apps, this is often called deep linking. So we would like to be able to do that here as well. Now, it turns out it's actually already working, but something is odd. So remember when I cut this code out here, I said, we're going to go and put all this stuff over here. Well, the reason nothing's happening is if I actually put this back in, that's duplicating a bunch of nasty HTML. But let's just go with that for a minute. And I hit enter. Look at that. Now we got deep linking. Again, pretty straightforward and pretty easy. But we have this really challenging problem of linking this stuff together. So then you want to talk about Jinja Partials, this thing that I released that allows you to create this code in one place and then use it in multiple places like that. It is similar, but not the same as. There's a whole discussion at the bottom that it's not include and it is not macro. It is similar, but not the same. Okay, so over here at the startup of this app, I've put one line of code. This Jinja Partials register extensions. And by doing that, I can then go over here and say, you know what? That was a bad idea to put all that there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say render partial. And let me just copy this so I don't make a mistake. This. Like that. And then we got to pass this is like a function in HTML. Videos equal videos. And now if I rerun it to make sure it's totally new, we go over here, run the same code, you get exactly the same output. Here it is. But it allows us to build up these really cool little partials and then reuse them throughout our page. So let me show you. 5 minutes? Close? Yeah? Okay. Oh, so much time. Okay. So let me show you another feature over here, then I'll just walk you through it. So another thing that's cool is we have infinite scroll. So you can come down here and we have infinite scroll for all the popular videos. Right? That's also not very much. So how would you go about implementing infinite scroll? Let's do that in HTML, which is feed right there. This is the HTML page for infinite scroll. Here's the title, and here's a fragment of videos I got, come from this video list. And then over in the video list, we've got a couple of videos, and if there are more videos after this set, after this page, we're going to do an hx get more videos. The trigger is revealed, replace this little animator spin thing. And that's it. So this idea of render partial plus HTMX allows you to build super clean web pages in Flask and avoid using a second language, which happens to be JavaScript as your only choice, but it allows you to just stay in Python, work on the server, but get something that feels like, behaves for the user like some kind of front-end application, some kind of SPA. All right, so let me just wrap that up real quick. A few things. Wait for it to switch. There we go. All right, so to trigger that, remember, all we had to do is set 4 attributes: hx get, hx trigger is key up, hx target is the place it goes, and then we added the history and deep linking with push URL. How do we know what to do on the server side? There's actually this HTMX header, this hx header that is passed along. I buried it in a class so I don't have to think about it again, but down inside that class, we just say hx requests in the headers. That means it came from, that's a partial request. You should treat it as partially. Otherwise, it's just give me the page. Super easy. And then if you want to deep link, all you got to do is handle both requests at the same URL. So this one is the partial response, and this one is the deep link, and it's good to go. So, all right. So I interviewed the creator of this framework, Carson Gross, on Talk Python. When was that? Episode 321, I guess, this summer. So if you want to hear more from the guy who created it, you can listen to that episode. He's a really clever guy. He's got a lot of interesting philosophy about how software should be built and put together and stuff. So definitely check that out if you're interested. If you want the source code from this presentation, if you want that demo app, you can go to talkpython.fm/htmx. There it has that's the landing page for this course I have on HTMX. You can check that out. But as far as the source code goes, right down at the top, right at the top of that page, you can click and go over to GitHub and see that. So if you want more info, talkpython.fm/htmx. Check that out.